Hear, hear.
Drax.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to take part in this debate and obviously to follow the Honourable Member and my colleague from West Dorset who's sitting right here beside me. Can I first of all pay credit to our leader, Councillor Spencer Flower, and our Chief Executive, Matt Prosser. I also like to agree with the Honourable Member from the opposite benches to thank our staff, all staff and officers who've done a fantastic job. They really have, over the pandemic in particular, and I welcome them now. They're all heading back to their offices, which is very good news, and frankly, the sooner the better. Perhaps my right honourable friend, who I have huge respect for, sitting in the front benches, the Secretary of State, I know he understands, being a true Conservative, that the best way to raise money is to lower taxes, and the sooner we have some really bright blue Tory policies to do that, we're going to get more money for the Treasury, which can be better spent, hopefully, for local authorities and all the public services that we need to spend money on. Or we're going to have to keep raising taxes, as Labour, of course, would do, and the pips would squeak for all of us, particularly for the less well-off who are struggling, as we all well know. Now, Dorset, as my honourable friend has said, sets one of the highest council taxes in the country. The unfair proportion lands on the Dorset Council taxpayers. And again, this point's been made with precept rises in various areas of the council tax. Very grateful to my honourable friend. We lobbied hard for the one-year settlement. We got more than we expected. We budgeted between 4 and 8 million, and we actually got 10.4. I'm going to crack on because I think there are many colleagues who want to speak, and I know my honourable friend over there will have something I'm sure he can say later when he's called. And we got 10.4 million, and I'm extremely grateful. Though some has been ring-fenced, and £3.1 million is for 1 year only. Statistics, which I think are incredibly dull and can be misused, of course, but can I just utter some to my right honourable friend for the 21-22 budgets, just exemplify our particular issue. On income, 85% from Dorset taxpayers, 67% from other unitary councils. That's on average. The business retention rate, 14% for Dorset, 24% average on other unitary councils. Revenue support grant, as my friend from West Dorset said, 0, nil point. Now, this counters the notion, in my view, that we've gone to a district council, a unitary council, as my right honourable friend knows. We've done this, we've led the way in the country. I know the government wants to go further with other authorities. We cannot be seen to fail. We just can't. And so I really do emphasise and ask my right honourable friend to take this into account when so much has been done and so much money has been saved and cut, that services now, statutory services, are under huge pressure. I know he's aware of this, but just let me say it. Anyway, the key issues, well, as we've heard, too much is funding, a one-off funding, which clearly we need time to plan. We need far more funding for further ahead. 3 or 4 year or 5 year funding would be fantastic, so we can plan and for certainty. The unfair distribution of the revenue support grant, as I said, we get none, nil. The business retention rate I've talked about in Dorset, lower than elsewhere, and the rural authority has no additional costs, which are not accounted for. And this is where the funding formula needs to change. We also have an accumulated debt of £70 million, high needs block for SEN children. This needs the Department of Education support to eliminate that debt. And for example, one child I know is costing the council £1.5 million to get the care that child needs, and rightly so, but that care has to be provided from outside the county. And this is, of course, costing Dorset Council vast sums of money. Next year's budget proposals, they increase a 3% increase in council tax and almost 1% increase for the social care precept. And again, the increase is actually representing figures. This, adult social care, a 10% increase of 13 million to 141 million. Children's services, a 4% increase of 2.7 million to 74.5 million. That's mainly children in care and disabled and SEN children. Climate and ecological emergency response, 10 million capital investment over the next 5 years has been put aside. And finally, 0.75 million to support new homes under the Registered Providers Scheme. These are all extreme pressures that a rural constituency like ours and my honourable friend and other members from Dorset face. Again, my right honourable friend is aware of this, and I now am very grateful because since my honourable friend from West Dorset spoke, I understand that a meeting has now been organised very kindly by his staff, and we very much look forward with our leader and our chief executive to discuss these issues and more with him in person.
Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Before I get into